Beyond bent. Janssen! And Blackburn Rovers are 18 minutes away from a Premiership return.
As far as Stewart, just outside the penalty area, clips it central for David Dunn. David Dunn equalises. It just had to be. Dax corner and it goes. Glance towards goal, and Rovers have taken the lead. And Charlie Mulgrew has scored his 14th of the season.
Hello Rovers fans, and welcome to a special live show. In the middle of the international break, we got a bit bored, so we decided to jazz it up with some guitar riffs and some sexy graphics courtesy of Mr. Joe Harvey at Rovers Chat. And the two victims, or guests, shall we say, for tonight are Mr. Luke Kimberley in the top left and Mr. Glenn Entwistle in the top right. How are you doing both? Are you ready to get the gloves off and have a good debate? I nearly said your word there, Luke.
This could be PG now, so get your kids to close their ears. But when I was asked to be involved in a live mass debate, I thought, bit weird, but the clown I am, I thought, why not? I'll get involved. So here I am, and it's very different to what I imagined.
Absolutely. And Glenn, like, you're always chuckling, so I don't know how you're going to get your gloves off and just be a bit nasty to Luke. So I'm begging you to do that tonight.
Oh, I'll try my best. I've gone without football for like a week now. Like, I hate the international weekend. It's like I got withdrawal symptoms from Rovers, so I'm angry. I'm angry. There you go.
Don't worry. But just to explain the format of the show to everyone before we do a couple of other reminders. So Luke and Glenn are going to be sat either side of the debate tonight. So we've got three questions that we've just thought about at Rovers Chat, and Luke will take one side, Glenn will take the other. They will try and convince us of their views. I want plenty of interactivity in the comments tonight. So if Luke or Glenn say anything that you just disagree with, please get it in the comments section and we will challenge back on anything that Luke or Glenn say. Then after each question, we'll decide a winner, and Dan's going to get a poll available on YouTube. So if you are watching on YouTube, you'll be able to take part in that poll. But either way, over the comments, we will decide who a winner is across those three questions that we've pre-prepared. And also, as we did say on Twitter, if you've got any smaller questions or any quick-fire questions that you want to throw at Glenn or Luke today, then please do that as well. We'll cover them on the show tonight and just get some quick debate or quick comments either way from Luke or Glenn on those as well. So just a few reminders before we do get started. You've probably seen on Twitter, and I know a lot of you have done voting already, we have been nominated for the Football Content Awards, which we are absolutely buzzing about. So for those of you that have voted, thanks ever so much. For those of you that have supported the channel these past few years, and especially during the pandemic, thank you for everyone's support over our different shows that we've done. If you've not voted, check out our pinned tweet on the Rovers Chat Twitter account. And yeah, voting closes by the end of this week, I believe, or maybe shortly into next week. So yeah, please vote if you haven't. And we will be traveling down to London as well to cover the FCAs and doing loads of bonus funny content. So look out for that as well in the week of the Football Content Awards. And as we always say, a big thank you to our sponsors, Blue Rose Capital and 6yardsout.com, who have been really kind to us over these past couple of years as well. And if you've not donated to Sporting Minds as part of our ongoing fundraising this season, then go and check those out as well. rcdonate.com if you did want to donate to that. Right, so that's enough of my waffle to get all of this started. I know that Luke and Glenn are ready for this debate. So Luke, I'm going to start with you actually in the top left. So our first question for today is all about Joe Rankin-Costello and Ryan NYAMBE. So the question is, with those two returning on Saturday, we hope, after their respective injuries, which player should be Rovers' first choice right back this season? So Luke, tell me which team you are in and make your comments and views known.
Very strongly in team JRC. For me, he's going to be like a new signing when he comes back. I think a lot of us have forgot just how good he was prior to the injury. I'll start with a little bit of a negative in the NYAMBE camp. There's obviously the contract situation over the head of NYAMBE. I think that's got to come into play really if we're forward planning. But that's about that. Let's talk JRC and why JRC is the number one, or should I say the number 2 / the number 11, whatever he is. The reality of it is, he is versatile. There's no two ways about that. All right, we could have him in a more advanced position. And if there were that opportunity, great. He's a fantastic footballer. And I think he'd be a very effective footballer further up the field. But in saying that, we have got a whole heap of talent in those wing areas. Having brought in Kader as well. Obviously, we've brought in Paveda. We've got Dolan, Brereton. So, you know, we absolutely have got an abundance in that respect. So I don't think that he's best utilised there. But I do think that he's a player that we absolutely have to have in the 11, just because of how effective he is and how talented a footballer is and how much he brings in terms of attacking prowess as well. All right, NYAMBE's great at going forward, but I just think JRC's levels above in terms of what he gives us in the wide areas. For me, people will complain or at least say his defensive abilities are his weakness, but we forget that JRC actually started his career as a centre-half. At youth level, he was a centre-back, so he's a very capable defender. And we can argue either way, but that is the reality, that he is capable defensively. And going forward, we know what he's capable of. I think he's an intelligent footballer, and I think any player that can play further forward, but is of that intelligence, I think when you're at right back and you can see more of the game, I think that intelligence and that ability will shine through. And as a right back, I think he offers quite a lot in that respect. So for me, all right, they're both great options, but NYAMBE absolutely edges it. GRC absolutely edges it. Oh dear. GRC absolutely edges it. And I think NYAMBE's unlucky, but you've got to get him in that 11, GRC. You absolutely have to get him in that 11. And if it's not in an attacking position, he's our first choice right back.
So, Glenn, Luke has made a case there for JRC, maybe offering a bit more, certainly an attacking threat. So make the case for Mr. NYAMBE, and why is he your number 2? Why is he your first choice right back?
I'll start with just following on from what Luke said. It's a fantastic problem to have, having those two players vying for a position. I mean, there's worse problems to have, isn't there? They're both fantastic players. I just think I prefer NYAMBE at right back. He's solid. He gets up and down that line. Yes, argue his end product isn't that fantastic, but he's just solid. He gets up and down. He goes all day kind of thing. And he doesn't get booked that often. I think something that I kind of find with Rankin Costello is he does pick up a few yellow cards. And we have a side that does like a yellow card. When you look at the likes of Travis and Davenport in the middle, Lenihan and Ayala at the back, we have a lot of yellow cards in that team. And it's another kind of sort of, you don't want another one in there, somebody else who can't tackle. But I mean, NYAMBE, he's an absolute unit. I'd hate to play against him. Any kind of position, winger, you're not going to beat him for pace or strength, really, are you? He's just an absolute unit. His experience-wise, he's kind of made the position he's on for the last 4 to 5 years. I don't think we'd be having this question if he'd signed that new contract. I think it would be, he's our right back of the future. And for now, he signed it, he's in. The fact he hasn't signed the contract is a concern for me. But if he goes on to play Premier League next season and it's not for us, he's probably had a fantastic season at right back for us. And that's why he should be our right back. And I think he would go on to be a Premier League player. Just kind of flipping it on its head a little bit with regards to JRC without meaning to throw too much shade at him. Obviously not his fault, but he does always seem to pick up injuries. He strikes me as a kind of Corey Evans type where he'll be fantastic for 3-4 games, but then we won't see him for 2 months. And I think at right back, you need that consistency of a player who's going to be there pretty much every week. I know NYAMBE's picked up the odd injury, but he's pretty much solid at right back in terms of first name on the team sheet. And I think another thing about Rankin Costello, and I'm by no means comparing him to this fantastic player, but Phil Jones's downfall was he was too versatile. He could play centre-half, he could play centre midfield, and kind of for me, Allardyce ruined Jones by playing him in centre mid when he came back from his injury. My concern with ranking Costello is I think he's a little bit better further up the pitch. I think he can provide more. You can't doubt his kind of final ball's fantastic, and we've obviously benefited from that. But I just worry that, is he a right back? You mentioned centre half. I don't think he's going to play centre half now, but he could play centre mid. I think he could play wide either side midfield, and it's that versatility that might be his undoing. Whereas NYAMBE, solid at right back. I saw a comment. I think it was from Sonny early on, or I may have got that wrong, just about playing him in a 3 at the back. In years gone by, I've thought NYAMBE would be a fantastic centre half, but I think he's kind of been overtaken now by the likes of Wharton and Carter, and he's kind of a right back now. I can't see him playing centre half unless we have a lot of problems. But for me, to sum up all that waffle, is NYAMBE, fantastic at right back. He gets up and down the line. He's an absolute unit. You're not going to beat him for pace and strength. And he's got the experience of the last 4 to 5 years. And let's be honest, it's nice to have 2 of our own vying for the position as well.
So, Luke, I'm going to come back to you in a moment. But if I just look at the comments here. So I think Chris was first in. Just gauging the comments. Chris, unfortunately, is on his own supporting you at the moment, Luke. I'm firmly in the JRC camp. And then if we just work down, Michael Pearson is certainly supporting NYAMBE. Dwyer 18, NYAMBE. Ross, NYAMBE. Alejandro, NYAMBE. Zaktara 45, NYAMBE. So there's a lot of support for Ryan NYAMBE.
Just to add another point I've forgotten about.
Hey, stop it.
We'd miss the tightest shorts in the world if he wasn't playing at right back. Can we buy him some extra large shorts? Jesus.
So, Luke, I'm going to come back to you because I think certainly what the viewers have picked up in the comments, and which you've both made reference to, as a right back, a right back whose traditionally their first job is to defend. A lot of the fans and viewers are pointing out that NYAMBE physically is obviously a better player in that regard. So, as an attacking right back, I'm just going to ignore the wing back conundrum now. Let's be fair to the debate. What is it about the modern day fullback that JRC offers that NYAMBE doesn't?
Well, he wants to get forward all the time. He's intelligent. He's always looking to get forward. He's always looking for the space. He offers a great deal of width. And I think we're going to get onto debates later on regarding certain strikers. And I think our downfall is that we don't get enough balls in the box. I think Glenn made a point that really strengthened my argument earlier. Thanks, Glenn, about NYAMBE's end product. And I think the way modern football plays, and certainly the way Mowbray wants to play in the 4-3-3, replicating that sort of Liverpool model that's been brought through, that's really dependent on a Trent Alexander-Arnold type of Robertson, really getting forward and getting balls into the box. We brought Pickering in for that reason, for his ability to cross a ball. And I think not having that replicated on the right-hand side would be an issue for me. I think it's crucial that we've got some symmetry on the pitch, down ball flanks, getting balls in the box, and offering some real threat in them positions, and ultimately getting goals in all areas of the pitch. Then, so for me, attacking wise, is undoubtedly the better option. And I think we're actually forgetting, because he's been out for that long, just how good of a player he is and just how effective he was for us. The most exciting thing about GRC coming back, whether he is our first choice right back or whether he plays in a different position for Blackburn Rovers, is that we were crying out for new signings. In and around the fan base, there's been some unrest about the transfer window and who we've brought in, who we haven't brought in, and what we might have been able to add to the squad. But we've got GRC, and that's a new signing coming back for us. Massive, massive, massive plus.
Rovers fans, if you are watching on YouTube, the poll is live now, so please do and get your votes in on the poll if you are there on YouTube. I can see from the comments that NYAMBE continues to get the support. Gary H, NYAMBE prefers JRC in a more attacking position. David Robert Wood, Ryan NYAMBE is the one. Alexander Haben, we need NYAMBE. So I think there's a lot of support for NYAMBE. Luke, just one thing that you did say, one thing I absolutely want to see from Rovers this season is attacking fullbacks. You know, Harry Pickering has been signed for that reason. We've seen Ryan NYAMBE attack, but I do agree with you. I think end product in that final third of the pitch, JRC does shade it for me in that sense. I'm not going to enter the wing-back debate on this for now because Tony Mowbray has been very, very faithful to a 4-3-3 formation or variation of, or indeed when we was away at Middlesbrough, 4-2-3-1. So it suggests that Mowbray is going to play 4 at the back. So we're not going to go down the wing-back route. So Rovers fans, we're going to end this section of the debate shortly. Any others who are coming in with comments? Alejandro's coming again. Costello has more talent. Has done great in several positions, but as a defender, of course, Ryan is better. So any final parting shots, Luke or Glenn, that you want to give to each other? Glenn's probably sitting pretty at the moment in terms of the viewer comments, Luke. So anything you want to both say to each other?
I think not really a parting shot. I think it's a fair comment. Depends what we play, whether we play 4 at the back or wing backs. I think in terms of if you've got that protection with 3 at the back, I think Rankin Costello's allowed to get forward. And there's no doubt his end product is better. But I think as a 4, NYAMBE's a better fullback in terms of that protection he offers you at the back, but the ability to get forward and support. As I say, the only kind of downfall to him at the minute is his kind of end ball, which kind of helps Luke's argument. But he's always fit, so that's my kind of argument.
There we go. So the results of the poll are in. I can't physically see it on my screen. So Dan is informing me that on YouTube, we have 20% for Joe Rankin Costello and 80% for NYAMBE. So, oh, you're on mute, Luke. He's kicking off on mute.
Wounded. I've just been saying to myself, but we've been looking at Buckley, haven't we? And how great he's been in the high press and closing down, and he's almost a player that we look at, and because of his physique, you assume he's not strong. And I think we think the same thing about Joe Rankin Costello. And I think if we saw him consistently in a right back position, we'd see his physicality and we'd see his ability to press high and get up the field. So ultimately, I've lost this debate, but I think the reality of it is, if we get either of those two at right back, like Glenn said earlier, we've got a real solid position there that we don't have to think about a great deal. We've got strength in depth, and it's a fantastic conundrum to have, really.
Definitely is. And we'll put that one down to Glenn as a win on that one. Michael saying ding ding, great round. So you both did a cracking job there of representing your right back, JRC or NYAMBE, but that one does go down to a Glenn round. The only thing I will say is a little fly in the ointment, and it's a comment just from Sean at 8:49. Only reason not to play NYAMBE is if he's causing problems behind the scenes, i.e. a new contract. Now, I'm not saying he's causing problems behind the scenes. What I am saying, though, is we need that new contract signing. And if there's any wind that he's not going to sign it, maybe that's going to force JRC to the first choice 4 until such a point. So come on, Ryan, sign that contract. You've got 80% of our viewers behind you tonight. If you are watching, get that contract signed. We want you to stay. So there we go. So that one goes down as a Glenn win. So we're going to move on then to question number 2 and dust off those notes for question number 2, Luke and Glenn. And the second question that we are going to be covering is all about Harry Chapman. And this one's just a really, really simple question. So deadline day, social media was awash with comments and people disappointed with the loan of Harry Chapman to Burton Albion, who incidentally is on the bench for them tonight in their game that they're currently playing away at Bolton. So the question is, was a loan deal the right decision for Harry Chapman? So Glenn, I'm going to start with you. What side of the debate are you on for this one?
No. It was not the right deal for him. I don't understand it. Why give the lad a 1 year deal and then ship him out on loan for the first half of it? It just makes no sense to me. I feel really sorry for him. He kind of came in that League One season and he was fantastic. He was exciting. He got kind of like bums on seats, people watching the game. He reminded me kind of like Stuart Ripley in the old days, getting down that touchline, getting balls in the box. He was exciting. And yet he had the injury and we was gutted. And then he came back and we signed him again, and he thought, yes, let's get him back to his best. And it just seems like he's Mowbray's little plaything. We're like, go on, you're doing well. Now you're back out on loan. Go, yeah, new contract, off out on loan again, you go. And I just think he did well at Shrewsbury. He went away and he did well on loan, did all he could really to either A, put himself in the shop window, or B, get a new contract. He's got the new contract. I bet he's probably thinking now, I wish I hadn't, and I wish I'd kind of looked at my options elsewhere and maybe, like I say, put himself in the shop window. But he's looked good so far this season. He's come off the bench. He's had a few cameos. He's looked decent. He gets us further up the pitch. I see he excites you when he picks up the ball. But he'll never recapture that League One form that he had before he got injured if he doesn't play. And kind of like the odd snapshot here and there isn't going to help. And that's why he needs to go out on loan. But I just don't get it. Give him game time for us. We've got the likes of we've got Dolan, the new lad from Brighton, and Clarkson and whatnot in that position. It's a good option to have out wide. He's a creative player. You can't ever have too many creative players in my eyes in terms of how we play the game. It's just he's a traditional winger, and I love a traditional winger. And I feel sorry for the lad kind of being, I'm going to say, messed about a bit by Mowbray. I don't know if Mowbray sees something in training or doesn't see something in training. That's what the problem is. But don't give him the new deal then. It's kind of, don't dangle the carrot and then take it away at the last minute. I'd liked him to stay. He's always excited me. He's back fit. Get him on the bench. Get him some minutes in. I think, thinking about it, maybe the cup exit probably hasn't helped him either. A little cup run, he'd have got some game time. Maybe that's his thinking, that we'd have got him game time in the cup and then see where he is come kind of Christmas. But yeah, feel sorry for the lad. He should have stayed for me. Absolutely.
So Luke, Glenn has made his pitch there. So tell us why it was the right decision to loan out Harry Chapman.
Well, this is where we find out that everybody on the earlier poll was talking absolute garbage, because either you want NYAMBE at right back or, JRC is a right back. So ultimately, by, the result of the last poll, we're saying that JRC is more effective further up the field. That said, where does Harry Chapman get game time? I know Glenn's saying that, he should get game time. How does he possibly get game time? He was already down the pecking order before JRC comes back from injury. JRC is now back from injury. We brought in, Rida Kadra, Paveda, like I said. Again, we've spoke about the same players. Gallagher, Brereton, Dolan. There's so many players that we've got, so many options in them wide areas. It ultimately makes it impossible for Chapman to get any game time. And I think if we're looking at Chapman being a Rovers player long term, we've got to get the boy game time. He's got to play. He's not going to play at Rovers. Maybe Mowbray's thinking is that he goes out on loan, he does get some games, and long term he could possibly make it as a Blackburn Rovers player. Maybe it's the other flip of the coin. Maybe he's not seen enough in training and his attitude's not there. Who knows? But there's been brief cameos for me of Harry Chapman where I think he has got the ability and he just needs the game time. So it could well be that he gets game time and then becomes a great asset to Blackburn Rovers further down the line. Maybe there's been that conversation there between Mowbray and Chapman, and there's that mutual understanding that if he goes and gets game time and proves himself, then ultimately he can come back in when these loan signings go back and make a big difference that he would. He showed it. I mean, myself and you, Ryan, obviously we were at the West Brom game, and that touch that we spoke about, he was down in the sort of left corner attacking, and he made that beautiful touch in the air where it's sort of like an aerial Cruyff. He's a talented footballer. He's a very able footballer. He's got to play football now. He's 23 years old. He'll be 24 next month, November, something like that. But he has to play football now. It's a crucial time in the career of Harry Chapman. And if he ain't going to get games at Rovers, he has to go out on loan. It's just as simple as that.
So, Glenn, just looking at the comments in the side and just to throw a couple of things myself into this. Mowbray is obviously wanting to use Premier League loans to his advantage and get in and make a good reputation with some of these Premier League clubs. And I suspect that there are plenty of clauses in these loan deals that says that these players have to play a certain percentage of games, which we can agree with that decision or we can't. We're also a club that, notwithstanding that Harry Chapman's probably not earning a massive amount of money at Rovers, still to have someone in the squad who's still taking up part of the wage bill, what is the point in having him on the books if he is now finding himself behind Dolan, behind Paveda, behind Kadra, etc., behind Gallagher and Brereton, because they're played wide. So where does he feature in that long list of wide players for you in that sense?
I didn't think I was going to mention this tonight, but I'm going to refer to Christian Walton. I didn't get my chance last week, but I'm going to bring up Christian Walton. So for me, I don't understand loan signings when you've got your own player that can play there. And all this building relationships with Premier League teams, fantastic. But it's only fantastic if it gets you somewhere. So you're going to end up in the same situation next year. So let's say we have a fantastic season this year and the lads that come in on loan are fantastic. We get promoted. They're tootle off back to their own clubs, go play for them. We've still got those holes to fill. The Walton thing is, why do we bring somebody in to allow them to make mistakes so they can develop as a player to then go back and help their parent club? I'd much rather one of our players come in, make the mistakes, learn from them, become a better player. And guess what? We get to see the benefit of that, whether that's a bigger transfer fee or he takes us up or he's just a much better player. I just don't understand it. If you've got a need, so let's say we didn't have a striker, arguably we didn't. So we go and get a striker on loan. It's a need that we've filled. That position where we brought Kedra in from Brighton, we said it before, you've got Harry Chapman, you've got Tyrese Stotel, you've got Joe Rankin-Costello, you've got Ben Brereton, you've got Danny Butterworth, all those sorts of players. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me. Obviously, last year we saw the benefit of that with Harvey Elliott, but at the end of the day, what other than building that relationship with Liverpool and saying, "Oh, look what Blackburn can do with your players," it's not left us in a much better position in the table. We're now left thinking, "Oh, are we going to replace Harvey Elliott?" I tell you might be able to do it. Harry Chapman, oh no, he's gone out on loan now. Why? I don't get. I've seen in the comments people saying, "Oh, he's going to be worth a fantastic fee and whatnot." Why did we bother giving him a new contract to ship him out on loan? Only thing I can think is he's got the new contract. He's sent out on loan. He performs somewhere, and we then get a fee for him. But that's got to be a balancing act between, if he's going to Burton and doing a fantastic job, we're not getting 5 million for him, are we? We're going to get a couple of 100,000. Does that offset what he's being paid every week, and what percentage of that we're paying? It just doesn't make sense to me at all.
And Luke, just looking at the comments, I think certainly people think two things with this. The treatment by Tony Mowbray of Harry Chapman, why get him to sign the new contract and then loan him out? That's certainly been picked up in the comments, and that doesn't feel fair. Just to maybe ask the question in a different way then, had we just released Harry Chapman and then brought in Kadra on loan, do you think people would have been happier with that? Convince people that bringing in Kadra on loan over Harry Chapman is a good thing to do?
No, I don't think people would have been happier with that. That's the plain and simple of it, though. People want Harry Chapman to play in a Blackburn Rovers shirt, and ultimately, he's not going to do that at the moment. I think the loan signings have come in to add strength and depth. I agree with Glenn completely. We want to be developing our own players. But if Harry Chapman's just going to sit on our bench and offer squad depth, is that the best for Harry Chapman? If Tony Mowbray does really see something in him, and in my heart of hearts, I really do think Tony sees something in Harry Chapman. He's a local Middlesbrough lad. There's something there for Tony. I think it does resonate with him, and he sees the talent in Harry Chapman, and he sees the frustration in that talent not being fulfilled at this stage in his career. Yes, that's partly because of the injuries, etc. But for me, you can't have a player of his ability just sitting on the bench. We all want to see Harry Chapman playing a Rovers shirt, and if he can go out and get some game time and come back a better player, great. In my heart of hearts, do I think he's going to be a Blackburn Rovers player long term? No, I think this is one that's going to fizzle out. But if there's that last opportunity for him, then give the boy a chance, because we've all seen what he can do, and really he's gained a lot of love at Blackburn Rovers, and I'd like to see him play for Blackburn Rovers long term.
I think I'm going to offer an interesting perspective on this one. So I think when you hear players like Bradley Dack talk and other players that we've had who have had long-term injuries at Rovers, I think the one thing they definitely talk about is our good medical facilities and our good medical department. And I've said on live streams before that hamstring injury that Harry Chapman got was devastating for him as a player. And it was a similar one to what Michael Owen did when he was younger. And he has just not been the same player since. So I do just wonder if there's an element of taking advantage of our medical facilities a little bit better, because to the greatest respects to clubs like Shrewsbury Town, who we went on loan to, and Burton, who he's on loan to now, maybe there's just something in just keeping him in and around just to help him move on into the future. There's certainly something going on, isn't there? You know, there's been a conversation between Mowbray and Chapman. And if I just bring in the results of the poll, 82% of people said he shouldn't have gone out. So on face value, this is an odd loan deal for a player that a lot of people do like. So something has happened that we're not party to as fans. And just on face value, it's one that people don't agree with. So Glenn, is that 2-0 to you?
It is. I just add, and this is just to give Luke a bit of a confidence booster in terms of like the next debate. Is one thing I would say about Chapman is I always thought he never got the chance because I don't think he did enough defensively. So I think Mowbray always looked at his wide strikers, your Antonsen, your Gallagher's. They get back and they help defensively. They track. That was my old kind of. Well, that's why he's not getting the game, because he's not tracking his man. But it all comes back to that conversation. Well, why give him a new deal? And that's the frustration for me. But yeah. Sorry, Luke.
No, I'll just jump on Ross Gibson's comment there. And I think he doesn't get enough game time because he's not that high up the pecking order. I think in order to do that, he needs to go out on loan and get game time. He can't just sit on our bench ultimately and not prove himself is exactly what you're saying. He does need to prove himself. And to prove himself, maybe he does need to go out on loan and do it. I agree. It's last chance saloon for him now. And I really hope whatever happens in the career of Harry Chapman now, it goes the right way for the lad. Whether that's in a Rovers shirt or not, but I really would like it to be in a Rovers shirt. And if we could see some of that glimpse of talent, become a little bit more of a stronghold, then we've got a real player on our hands. Or whoever does is a lucky team to have him. But fingers crossed he stays fit, and let's hope he comes on against Bolton tonight and really does us a favour there as fan. Maybe that's why he's gone out on loan. Maybe that is the sole reason that we hate Bolton.
Well, definitely, if he gets a goal tonight at Bolton, we can all be happy with that one. So, Luke, you're going to have the chance of a consolation goal in about 5 minutes' time, but we're just going to do the little quick fire round. So, Rovers fans in the comments, if there's anything that you want Glenn or Luke to debate on your behalf, then please fire it into the comments box. We'll do it as a quick fire round. Just don't make it about Sam Gallagher, because he is the third question. So whilst I'm just waiting for your comments, I'm just going to pick up two things. So Sonny at 8:53 asked, have I seen the article saying that Brereton is set to sign a new deal? I haven't, and Glenn or Luke might have. Don't use me as a barometer today, because I've had a day from hell, so anything could have happened today, and I've not kept up with it. So Luke, Glenn, have you seen anything around that? No. So we'll keep our eye on that one, Sonny. I wasn't ignoring your question there. And just whilst we wait for other people to load in the comments, I'm going to get you two to debate one player for me here each. So let's make it brief. So earlier on, BRFC for Life sent us a Twitter question, actually. Who has been your Rovers Player of the Month for August? So as Luke is losing, I will give him first dibs on the player, which means, Glenn, you might get the short straw, because I think this one's obvious. So you're going to have to argue someone else. But Luke, who's your Player of the Month for August?
It's two for me, actually. I could go with goalie gloves, but Glenn likes wearing them. I'm going to go with John Buckley. I think he's been absolutely phenomenal. Engine in the midfield, running every ball down. I think he's built a real rapport with the fans now as well. You can see he wears his heart on his sleeve. He really plays for the badge, and that's all I want as a fan. If I can see that game in, game out, I can see someone running themselves into the ground for the cause. He's pressing high. He's making an absolute nuisance of himself, and his footballing ability is coming through now as well. We've spoke about that now on various streams of how able a footballer he is, and we're starting to really see that. I think he's a brilliant, brilliant footballer, and he's had a great month.
So Luke says, John Buckley, Rovers fans, let us know who you think in the comments. I've got a feeling you might have given Glenn an easy way out with this one, Luke. Glenn, who are you saying?
He's not, because I was going to say John Buckley. So I thought I had the kind of controversial opinion. Completely agree with everything Luke said there. He's everything you want in that player. Just his kind of drive, his passion, his ability on the ball as well. I think the kind of, although we got beat the game against Morecambe stood out for me. Just that first half, he absolutely dominated it. We took him off. We were like a completely different team second half, and I've had a few people say that to me. I probably would say it's tight. I'm going to go with Ayala, would be my second choice, closely followed by your favourite, Ryan. But I think Ayala has come in, and I'll hold my hands up. I doubted him as a signing. I doubted us as a signing when we signed him, and then last year when he went off injured. But he's shown himself to be a leader, a kind of powerhouse at the back, and you do kind of think, yeah, this is what we've signed. This is what he's still not that old. He's younger than me, so he's obviously not that old. But yeah, Ayala for me. He's shown me. He's proved me wrong. I'm pleased to say, and he's got a fantastic partnership with Lenihan at the back at the minute. So yeah, but John Buckley would have been my choice if Luke hadn't stolen it.
I got Ayala's age horribly wrong on one of the last streams because I
did.
He was like 34. And oh, how depressing. So I agree with both of you. It was Buckley and Ayala are the two, but I'm leaning towards Ayala, and I thought one of you two would have said Ayala as well, as much as I love Bucko. So looking at the comments, let's have a look. Chris has gone Ayala. Ross has gone Ayala. Michael's gone Bucko and Ayala like me and like you two. Alejandro Ayala by miles. Sonny Ayala by a mile. So I think it's just Ayala in the viewers' comments. So
see, I think Diaz has been done to in the comments there as well. He's been phenomenal.
Definitely.
I still can't get used to calling him Diaz. He's Ben Brereton, and it's ridiculous.
I'm just going to come to one of Alejandro's other questions, though, because this is interesting, actually. It's the one you've put in capital letters, Alejandro. So I'm going to look at that one. This is an interesting perspective. So 908, Alejandro asked the question. So Cadra coming in. So you two are going to have to go either side of the debate on this one. So Glenn, you get first dibs. We've been talking about Harry Chapman, but actually Dolan was, player of September, August, October last year. Could Cadra coming in actually force Dolan to the bench? So what side of the debate are you going?
I think he will, and I think it's the same as what happened last year with Harvey Elliott. Harvey Elliott came in and almost kind of took that position off Dolan, and I'm not going to go into the debate about loan players ahead of your own again. But it's a similar situation. Dolan's he's done enough. He's enough of a bright spark. He creates enough. My only downside would be he does try to do too much. That West Brom game at home, he came on, it was always trying to little flick through the legs and things, and he just needs to learn sometimes that get it down, play the simple pass. Matt Jansen was just as bad when he came in. He was always trying to prove his price tag almost. Once he settled down, he was fantastic for us. I think Dolan's the same, and it is a concern for me. I do worry that we're going to see less and less of Tyrese Dolan with Poveda and Kedra coming in. It's I don't like the look of that. I like Tyrese Dolan. I think last season he gave us a spark when he came off the bench, particularly in the games that were tight. And I worry that I don't want him coming off the bench. I want him to start a game. And I like Tyrese Dolan.
Luke, reassure everyone that is not going to happen to Tyrese Dolan. So why is Glenn wrong with that?
That isn't going to happen to Tyrese Dolan. I do, in my heart of hearts, I do think that Cadra's probably been brought in for squad depth. Similar to what I was saying before, I think you don't want our own players sat on the bench. I think the front three sort of picked itself. I think Poveda maybe squeezes into that, especially off his performance at Middlesbrough. I thought he looked really lively there, really talented footballer, so I'm excited by that one. But Dolan does need games this season. I think he will get the majority of the games. He'll get a lot of game time, which is why I feel Harry Chapman just doesn't get that sniff, because we do need to rotate. It's a long season. We can't be playing. The front three sort of picked itself before Kadra and Poveda came in. So I think the addition of them just gives it a little more squad depth, a little bit more ability for Mowbray to rotate it and rest players, and hopefully see us through the longevity of a tough season. We all, spoke about the season before it all kicked off, and we didn't have high hopes for the season with the lack of squad depth. So the reality of it is, our talented players and our young players, we don't want them to burn out. Not all players are like Harvey Elliott at that age and can play 41 games in a season and look at every bit the player at the start of the season as they do at the end. So I think the reality of it is we need to look after Dolan a little bit, and hopefully we can see him come on leaps and bounds.
So there we go. Luke has reassured everyone that is not going to happen to our man Tyrese. So there we go. And then the final one, Luke, you can have first dibs on this. Sunny at 9:11 p.m. Does Wharton start when he's back? For me, he has to start. He's quality at passing and defensively sound. So I am just going to do a big shout out to my favourite loan signing, Jan-Paul van Hekke. So he's got to get ahead of him. So Luke, is Wharton, in all seriousness, is Wharton going to start for Rovers when he's back and fully fit? You can take either side of the debate. So is it a yay or nay for you?
He isn't for me. I think when a player comes back from injury and the people that have fit in for him over the course of that injury, ultimately that's Ayala. We've just said that Ayala's player of the month. How then do you bring Wharton in to replace player of the month? Okay, Ayala's probably going to pick up a knock or need a rest at some point over the season. That's maybe then when Wharton comes in and ultimately has to prove himself like he has done on occasion. And I don't think that's a bad, position to be in when we've got players vying for positions and ultimately bringing better performances out of the player that's wearing the shirt at that period of time. Also, shout out to Jan-Paul van Hekke, because what we've heard from the journalist, the Dutch journalist, and what people over in Holland have spoke about this player, I think actually he's one of the loan signings that has just been completely overseen. I think he's going to be a massive player for Rovers this season. I'm basing that completely on hope and love for this Dutch journalist, as opposed to actually knowing anything about Jan-Paul van Hekke. But how he spoke about him really, really got me excited. So, interesting for the centre-back positioning. I think we're in a very, very lucky and good position where centre-back's concerned.
So, Glenn, Luke has highlighted the competition that Scott Wharton is going to have when you've got Player of the Month, Daniel Ayala, you've got Hayden Carter, who has really come on at the start of this season, and you've got a true rival to Thomas Kaminski in my eyes with Jan-Paul van Hekke, who just appears to be an absolute nutter. So how is Scott Wharton going to start ahead of them? Make the case for him.
It's a Van Hekke of a question, isn't it? It's
hey.
Get out.
I think just as you were talking then, you think about our defence, and we're kind of absolutely stacked at the back at the minute now. You look at right back, we've talked about NYAMBE, JRC. You look at left back, we've got Pickering and the new lad whose name I'm not going to try and pronounce. And then across the centre half partnership, you've got Lenihan, you've got Ayala, you've got Van Hekke, you've got Wharton, you've got
two Lenihans.
Two Lenihans, yeah. So you kind of got five centre halves who could come in and play in two positions. And I think that probably gives us an indication of Mowbray wanting that option of going to a kind of three with wing backs and having potential there. If he wants to change to that, it works, having that strength in depth. Without meaning to go back to a previous question, I would worry. I know we've passed the window now for loans. I think we are. Would be so. Losing a Wharton or a Carter out on loan, whether somebody emergency loans them out. I don't want to see that. I want to, as I mentioned before, see our own given a chance. I think you're right. I think we're going to be optimistic to think Ayala makes it to Christmas without missing a few games. I think whether that's through injury, through resting, through suspension, him and Lenihan, I think, do pick up a few cards. So you do need that strength in depth, but again, he's a fantastic player to have coming back. He's again like another new signing, isn't he? We lost him just before Christmas last year. You've had it'll be almost 12 months since he played. It's a nice problem to have.
So there we go. And as Chris points out, defenders have come. Yes, they have. And actually as well, it's been picked up in the comments all night, and it kind of really, linchpins the whole debates that we've had. I do wonder if we're going to end up at wing backs, actually, just with the options that we've now got. And Harry Pickering definitely has more to offer as an attacking threat for Rovers. We've got JRC, who can be an attacking threat as a right wing back, and maybe NYAMBE will slot in as a third centre back. I do wonder if we're going to eventually make that switch. So would not surprise me if we do, given the options that we've now got. So we'll see. But for now, I think, Luke, you won that one. I think you won that little mini debate. So there we go. That was a tough one for Glenn to win, particularly with a player that's injured. So we're going to move on to the third and final debate question that we've had. It's a chance for the consolation goal for Luke. I can't remember what side of the debate you're on for this one. Well, this one is all about Sam Gallagher. And I was inspired by this question when he scored away at Middlesbrough and he was playing centrally. And I was just instantly thinking about, fans on social media or wherever would instantly be saying, play Sam Gallagher central and he scores. So that is the inspiration. So the question is, will Sam Gallagher score 10 goals at least for Rovers if played centrally this season? So Luke, you've got the chance of the consolation, so you're going to go first. So you're either saying that he'll only get 10 goals if he's played centrally, or doesn't matter where he plays in our attack, he's going to score 10 goals. What side are you on?
Look, I wasn't a massive advocate for us re-signing Sam Gallagher when we signed him on a permanent. I don't think he did enough when he was here to warrant that price tag. Ultimately, he is here. And Mowbray's seen something in Sam Gallagher that's made him pay that money for Sam Gallagher at youth level. Obviously, he's had cameos at Southampton in the first team, in cups, even in the league. Mowbray has now got to back his horse, and Sam Gallagher is a central striker. That's where he's played at youth level. That's where he's got goals. That's where he's been recognised. And we've got to play him down the middle to get anything out of him. He can run himself into the ground on right wing, on left wing, wherever you play him in the pitch. If he has a cameo at right back, as he so well did. Again, so much depth there, haven't we? He will run himself into the ground for the shirt. Whether that leaves him effective on the football field and leaves him in a position where he's going to score goals, that's going to be argued. If he plays through the middle, he'll get 10 goals. It's as simple as that. He'll work hard for the goals. He'll get in the right positions. He's a handful. He does know where the goal is. He's just never in the right place on the pitch because he's not central as a striker. If we've brought in these wingers that can put a ball in the box, can hit the wings and can create space for Sam Gallagher in the box, get it on his head, he's going to be a threat and he's going to be difficult to play against. So he can easily get 10 goals from central striker, and I think that's where we need to be playing him now, and Mowbray needs to be backing his horse.
So Rovers fans, the poll will open very shortly for you to give your views on this one. I can see some comments coming in already. So Glenn, you've got two ways you can go with this. You can either say, no, he won't score 10 goals if played centrally, or you can say, doesn't matter where he plays in the attack, he's going to score 10 goals. So what side are you going on with that?
I'm going to go for the latter. I think it doesn't matter where he plays, he'll get 10 goals this season. I think he's got 2 already. He started bright. Don't kind of change it. I think I've just seen Dan Ains was commenting there saying to play devil's advocate, though, he's had a really good start to the season out wide, and I'd agree with that. I think my concern with playing Gallagher through the middle is he's not Danny Graham. He's not going to hold the ball off, battle a defender, and draw free kicks. I think he's a different player. We saw against West Brom, that long ball in the first half up to it was kind of up. He didn't win the header. The ball came back. The worry for me is you put him through the middle. Yes, he might get 10 goals, but it's not going to be nice. It's not going to be effective for us. I think he's better out wide. His work rate's fantastic. I appreciate the point you made, Luke. Again, never thought I'd compare Sam Gallagher to Zlatan Ibrahimovic, but Ibrahimovic always said, don't make me run around the pitch because I'll be knackered when I get in front of goal. Just give me the ball to score. I think there's an element of that with Gallagher that sometimes maybe he has run himself into the ground when he does get forward. But there's also the pressure of being a number 9 as well. He's got the price tag. If suddenly I know he is the number 9, but kind of you're the target man. if he's not got a goal in 1, 2, 3 games, that suddenly becomes a bit of a weight. Whereas if you're out wide, it's not that expectation that he's going to be the man that gets the goals. They're going to be shared around. So for me, it becomes too easy to lump it to him, and I don't think he's that great as a kind of target man to bring others into play. Yes, as somebody who's getting the ball maybe from wingers and whatnot, he's a fantastic header of a ball. His goal on against Middlesbrough was great. There's another comment in there compared it to something that Harry Kane would do, and I agree with that. He got it, turned, hit it, absolutely smashed it. Great goal. I just think it's a big ask, and it may affect the way we play. He's better out wide, bringing others into play out wide rather than straight through the middle. And I see, and I kind of like Dolan through the middle for that reason. He's going to chase it down with a goal. He's going to chase the locks causes down to bring Gallagher and Brereton further up the pitch. So he'll get 10 goals, but I think he can get 10 goals from a wide attacking position.
I'm going to come in here because I'm desperate for this one. The reality of it is, though, if we're playing with wingers, does Dolan playing down the middle then not because that's the way we're playing, but does it ultimately leave us really narrow because then them two are trying to feed off Dolan and coming in, and what we're trying to do is play with width, and that goes sort of...
Yeah. I think it depends how we want to play. I think I'm using the West Brom game, but it's probably a bad example to use because they're going to be one of the teams that are up the top. They've got a lot of quality. They're a frustrating team to watch with the bloody throw-ins, but other than that. I think if we're going to play with wingers and play with very similar to kind of Wilcox and Ripley, shall we say, pick the best of the bunch. Gallagher's perfect in that number 9 role through the middle. But if we're not, and it is going to resort to kind of lumping it long and let's go play off Gallagher, I really can't see that working. I think that the West Brom game was a good kind of case study for that. The first half, I don't think he won hardly any headers, and when he did, there was no one there to get the flick on. Second half, we got it down, started playing it about a bit more. He was a lot more effective with that kind of burst into the box, that header, like you said against Middlesbrough, getting the ball 20 yards out and turning and hitting it like a striker. So yeah, I totally understand what you say. Wingers, fantastic as a kind of striker, but it just depends how we're going to play.
Yeah, it depends how we're going to play, whether we're going to play with fullbacks as well, with the 5 at the back, the 3 at the back, however you want to call it, because then where does it leave us? All our width, is it coming from the fullbacks, and are we going to go a little bit narrower up top, and are we going to look to hit someone in the middle and get Pickering's balls in the box and JRC or NYAMBE crossing the ball into the box? So that'll be a really interesting one as well, what Mowbray sees us doing, and I think we've got ourselves into a position maybe where he's going to start tinkering again like he did at the sort of latter half of last season, whereby he's got so many options that he's going to look at the opposition a little bit too much in each game, and I don't want to go down that route, but I see that happening.
I think as well, just that it is a nice problem to have. You could start a game with him out wide, one side, Brereton out wide, the other, Dolan through the middle. You can change that every 5-10 minutes, and that's what you want, that kind of ability to play multiple positions and styles. Your defence doesn't know who they're tracking, who they're marking. Do I go with him? Does he go with him? Is he playing left wing now? Is he through the middle? That's a fantastic kind of Dutch way to play, isn't it? Everybody able to play different positions.
I've always been an advocate for a fluidity in a front three, to be fair, and I think it does make you very dangerous.
Glenn, I'm just going to ask you a little devil's advocate question. So you two have all commented on his work rate and the stuff that he does for Rovers. So if he is played in those wider positions where he's sacrificing himself for the team because of that work rate, how can he get 10 goals for you? Where's he going to get those 10 goals?
That's a horrible question.
I'm a bad man.
Well, I think you see it against Middlesbrough, kind of picking that ball up 20 yards out and kind of driving infield. You see it from Brereton as well. He's come on leaps and bounds, Brereton, in terms of picking the ball up and running and getting us 20 yards further up the pitch. And I think Gallagher can benefit from that. There's also, if you've got one winger crossing the ball in, your other winger's coming in at the back stick as well, which is to his advantage, powering onto a header at the back stick. You've got, I don't want to rely on set pieces, but he's a threat from corners, free kicks, that kind of thing. I think there's enough about his game and the way we play for him to get 8 more opportunities to score this season.
Excellent. The poll is live, I am led to believe, so we'll get the results for those in a moment. Luke, I'm just going to come back to you. So a couple of things for me. we have lost a very big player in Adam Armstrong in a central position for Rovers. We do need to replace that somehow, given that we didn't do that on transfer deadline day. So is Sam Gallagher that person? Not for the level of goals that Armstrong's going to score, but just a presence in the centre. And just linked to that, for me, I don't like the false nine. Dolan works really hard in that position, but I want him in the positions where I think he's most effective. Yes, Poveda worked really hard against Middlesbrough in that area, but I want him doing other things on the pitch. So for you, is that why you would play Sam Gallagher centrally for just those two things that I've raised there?
Adam Armstrong's not a big player. He's tiny.
To be fair, it's true.
No, the reality of it is, yeah, we've lost 30 goals, haven't we? We need someone who can find the net. I don't think Dolan, this isn't a criticism, but I don't think he really knows where the net is in respect to the fact that he isn't an experienced footballer. He hasn't been in and around, championship opposition goals that regularly to find the goal on a regular basis. It will come, I'm sure it will, but not at the level of Adam Armstrong. Sam Gallagher knows where the goal is. He's a proven striker at youth level. He's been utilised in potentially the wrong positions for Blackburn Rovers in recent years. All right, he's been effective on the wing in terms of his work rate, and he's offered something that we've really, really lacked in other games when he hasn't been on the pitch. Preston last season stands out for me. He was fantastic. Merrowing down that line, he was brilliant. But he has to be down the centre, and he has to be knowing where the goal is and hitting the goal and ultimately scoring goals. And I think that's what he'll do. He will give us goals in a central position.
So there we go. The people have spoken on the poll, and Luke, I can confirm that you have got your consolation strike away at Entwistle Road, but it wasn't enough. It's a tough Monday night fixture for you. The results of the poll, though, Sam Gallagher will score 10 goals. 66% say if he's played as a central striker. 25% say he'll score 10 goals either way, so regardless of where he plays in our front line. A very horrible 8% of you saying he won't score 10 regardless. Shame on you all. And then 0% out wide as well. So there we go. We are coming up to the hour mark, so we're going to seek to wrap this stream up in a moment. Luke and Glenn, I just want to thank you both just for doing this all in the good spirit that we intended it. So I put you both on the spot. I got you both to take certain sides of the debate. They're not necessarily your very strong-held views. So if you see Luke or Glenn at an away ground or at Ewood Park, don't give them crap because I forced them into this position. They very willingly took on both sides of the debate for us today and have done a really, really good job for us. And for all of you watching tonight, thank you for all of the quick-fire comments. Thank you for all of your interactions. Let us know what you think of this show. It's the first time we've done something like this. And as I say, I've put Luke and Glenn on the spot, and I think they've held their own very well on either side. So we'll do these again if needs be. And I know that there are other questions in the comments, such as Pickering or Edun. Hopefully when Edun's had some games and if he's played at left back, we'll pick up that as a topic of debate as well. So let us know what you think. If you've enjoyed it, certainly give this video a like on YouTube. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. And as we said earlier, please, please, please vote for us at the Football Content Awards if you have not done that yet. We'll be absolutely buzzing to bring back that prize for the best club content creator if we can. We've absolutely loved producing all of the content over these last few years, and especially the video content during the pandemic and things as well. You know, we all get as much out of this as hopefully you all do tuning in. So thanks everyone for your support. We've got a few bits and bobs dropping through the week, but the main content will be back this weekend, ready for the Luton Town home game. I'll be back with On the Other Side. I'm not on Sofa Chat this week, unfortunately, so it's going to be Luke, Dan, and Joe. And then I think you'll be doing some instant reaction stuff as well. So, yeah, I'm not at the game on Saturday, which I'm gutted about. And Michael, stealing in. Michael, you did say another comment, which made me chuckle. Where is it? 924, you did remind me of Gaffu And that is when Sam Gallagher ended up at right back. I can't remember who we had at home during the pandemic, but Gaffu did definitely make me chuckle, Michael, when you said that one. Oh, there it is. Don't know what happened there. Gaffu, that did make me chuckle. But yeah, the super chat, Michael. Thanks ever so much for that £10. Thanks for a great night. Thank you for your support, and thanks everyone. Yeah, we'll do this again. That's it. So, yeah, thank you to our sponsors, 6 Yards Out and Blue Rose Capital. We'll end it there. Thanks, Luke. Thanks, Glenn. Thanks, everyone. See you soon.
Cheers.
Cheers.
The Rovers Chat YouTube channel is proudly sponsored by 6yardsout.com. They've got retro football from every era with mugs, phone cases and much more. They also have plenty of Rovers goods, including apparel with the famous 94-95 season and this season's kit. Check them out using the link in the description below.